All right, so our last lesson talked about permutations with no restrictions. Remember, a permutation is just a way to assign a role or put things in order where the order does matter. We are going to talk today about a permutation with repetition. So, for example, let's say you have the word I. If you wanted to rearrange these letters, first of all, when it's talking about words, it doesn't mean you have to rearrange the word to make more words. It just means you have to rearrange the word to make a combination of letters. So if you look in this word I, there are repeating E's. So I'm going to call this E1 and E2. Now, technically, there is no difference between E1 and E2. But if I wrote E1, E2, Y, and E2, E1, Y, those are the same thing. So it doesn't matter that there's E1 and E2, because if I don't factor in the idea that there are two separate letter E's, they're essentially the same letter E. So this would be one way. That's one way to rewrite EYE. Even though there are two different elements of E, they're the same letter. Hopefully what I'm saying makes sense. So when you have repeating letters, like, doesn't matter, like if you're doing, for example, Miami, it doesn't matter if you pick the first M or the second M. The letter M, it doesn't matter. So there is a formula for this. I'm going to just press pause real quick and let's just talk about a permutation. So let's say you had the word Miami. Let's just say you had a 5-letter word, not Miami. If you wanted to, I don't know, what's a 5-letter word? Label. Label. So let's say you wanted to rearrange these letters. What we did last week is we said that you had 5 letters and you wanted to put them in order. So you're going to do a permutation, or 5 NPR 5. So if you do this, and I'm just going to use the Desmos calculator real quick. If you do this, NPR, and then do 5, 5, I get this as my answer. It's 120. But you might recognize that 120 with the letter M, the number 5 here, is just a way to rewrite 5 factorial. So 5 factorial is the same as using all of these letters, right? That's like what we did before we knew about permutations. We said that there were 5 spots. You have 5 letters to choose from. Now you have 4, 3, 2, 1. And so it's the same thing. So I'm going to let you choose how you want to think about this formula. If you want to do it all as factorials, that's fine. The other way we're going to write this formula is to say, do the actual permutation, do an NPR using all elements over this same formula, S1 factorial, S2 factorial, and you'll see what this is in a second. It's very easy. I know it looks very complicated, but it is not. So for example, here's the word Miami. It wants to know how many different ways can you rearrange this, but pay attention, there are 2 terms here that repeat. So these M's are not different and these I's are not different. So what I'm going to say is that I have 5 elements and I want to pick all 5 of them to rearrange. So 5 NPR 5 or 5 factorial, because you're using all factorials. I mean all letters. I don't care which one you use. It's really a matter of personal preference. Personally, I would just use the factorial. It's a little bit easier, but whatever you want to do. And then you're going to look at what repeats. So if you look at the word Miami, you have M's that repeat. How many M's do you have? You have 2. So you're going to put that as a factorial. You also have I's that repeat. And so I'm going to put another 2, which represent the I's. And so you wind up getting 5 factorial over 2 factorial times 2 factorial. If you did it with a permutation notation, that's fine. You would still put underneath here 2 factorial times 2 factorial. So let me just show you what that looks like in both calculators. If you are careful when you're typing this in, you can get the answer very easily. Personally, that's why I would use the factorial, so you don't need to go into any menus if you're using the Desmos. So you would just do 5 factorial divided by, and then I would keep this in parentheses, 2 factorial times 2 factorial. I'm just typing this in. So there are 30 different ways. So before, if I was just rearranging the words that had 5 letters, I would get 120. But do you see how there's only 30 ways to actually arrange the letters? And that's because you have repeating letters. So once you have repeating letters, your answer should be much lower than it would be if you had all individual values. I'll show you real quick on the graphing calculator if you are using that. There is a factorial in here as well. Again, that's what I'm going to recommend doing. So I would personally put in parentheses the denominator, and I would put 5. The factorial is in math, probability 4, and then divided by parentheses 2 math probability 4 2 math. Whoops. Get out of there. Math probability 4. So that's what it would look like in the graphing calculator. It does take a little bit more time to put it in the graphing calculator. I want to show you how to put it in the graphing calculator because if you are going to college and you're going to take a statistics class, which most of you are going to, this is what you would have to do. You're not going to get like a Desmos calculator in the middle of like your college class. So if you have a graphing calculator, that's how you have to do it. If you choose to do the NPR, you'd have to go in here and do that again. 5 math probability, get that answer, and then you can divide it by 2 factorial times 2 factorial. You still get 30 as the answer. Personally, I'm going to recommend Desmos just because you can type it on the computer and it's way easier. So let me get back to those notes because now hopefully we can finish this very quickly. I know it was a very long explanation. I apologize. Here we go. Virginia. First, count how many letters are in Virginia. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to do 8 factorial, and I notice that there are repetitions. The letters that repeat are I, 1, 2, 3. That's it. So it's over 3 factorial. If you want to, you can imagine this written out and just do 8 all the way to 4, or just go to Desmos and type it in just like this. 8 factorial. Hold on, let me get my keyboard up. Over 3 factorial, 6720. Last one, Tallahassee. A lot of letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 factorial over. And we have a few repeating letters. So you just count how many terms repeat and do each one separately. I'm going to go with A first. So 1, 2, 3. I'll do the L's in pink. There are 2 L's. There are also 2 S's. And there are 2 E's. No other letters repeat. So again, just throw this all in that Desmos calculator and you will be good to go. 11, 3, 2, 2, 2. All right, 11 factorial over 3 factorial, 2 factorial, 2 factorial, 2 factorial. So it is still a bigger number, 831, 600, but it's also a longer word. 830, what was it, 831? 831,600. All right, so now here's going to be the difference of when you use a permutation with or without repetition. These I'm going to leave for you guys to answer, and I'll do these two with you. So you have license plates, and it is made up of 4 letters followed by 2 digits. So if the items can be repeated, well, I guess we don't really need a permutation here. We don't need a permutation. This is the same thing we did last week. You have 4 letters that can be repeated. So you have 26, 26, 26, 26, followed by 2 digits, which are 10 and 10. You just multiply these all together and get a very large number. $45,697,600. Now, if these items cannot be repeated, then you have a lower number. It's still going to be a big number, but 26 numbers are 26 letters here. You already chose one. You cannot repeat it, so you're going to go down to 23. Then you have 2 choices for digits. 10 here, you use one. There are 9 left, so 26, 25, 24 times 23 times. So you get a lower number. Still not that much lower, but 32,292,000. So this is just a review from last week. So you're just going to throw those in the calculator. This is what we just did today. So this is from Friday. This is from today. And then this is from Friday. And then this is from today. This is going to not be able to repeat because you're giving people positions, right? If once somebody's the president, they can't be the vice president. So this is not repetitious. Is that a word? Sorry. Not repeating, so just use a regular NPR formula for this. This you can repeat because things are identical. So it doesn't matter if you're picking guitar 1 or guitar 2. So this is going to be like today. Okay, so just finish answering these questions up in the Go Formative and you will be done for today.